Hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp, and to the episode where we look at a few interesting games and other bits and bobs that we've been playing with on Switch this week.
Yeah, we've got 6 games to talk about. We've also got some that have been sent to us with some very nice collector's editions, so we'll have a look at the bits that come with those too. And yeah, just give you a rundown of some of the games we've been playing.
Alright, what are the most interesting games we've been playing? Well, let's find out. Let's start off then with a couple of those premium edition games. Now, the main thing I think we want to look at here, the boxes, the way these are packaged. They look absolutely lovely, don't they?
Yeah, they make a big effort to evoke memories of certainly Super Nintendo games in terms of the way they package their physical editions. North American Super Nintendo games in particular, if you look at the styling of them. And they look lovely, and they come with some really nice bits inside too.
Yeah, you can see the box for Love Free on the screen. That had some lovely bits inside it. I think the thing for me is to have a proper game manual in there. Like, it's nice to actually have a manual for your game that covers all the basics in there.
Yeah, it's something obviously that you got back in the day without even giving a second thought to, but it is a rarity these days, and these are of a good standard. They're very, very high quality printed, and as you say, they don't just go through the motions, they go through all the bits that you would have found in the manuals back in the day. And they also come with a card, which is quite interesting, like a challenge that you can try.
Oh, nice.
During the game. And if you can complete that challenge and provide evidence to premium edition games, you get sent one of their patches.
That's very
cool,
cool,
like sew onto your rucksack or whatnot. That's very old school. I remember things like that back in the day in gaming magazines, where you had to take a picture of your high score on the screen and send it in, and you have to wait for the pictures to be developed before you could send it and stuff. And then it came back and it was a rubbish picture and you couldn't send it. And I think Atari back in the day did something with patches as well. So it's a nice little nod back. Yeah,
I like that. There's someone sat in the comments going, "Developed? What are they talking about?"
Yeah, what does that mean? Yeah,
sorry, what?
Exactly right. Yeah, but yeah, no, they're really nice. Really of a high quality. They did send us a couple more that, I'll be honest, I've not had a chance to look at yet. I've not been very well lately, but I will have a look at those, and they'll definitely be in one of these episodes in the near future.
Yeah, and there's another one from a separate company, isn't it? This version of Raji that you can see, and it comes with some very nice extras in there. They have an art book. There's little figures that you can almost create out of wood. Like the ones you click together.
Yeah.
And several other bits. Yeah, it's just a lovely addition, I guess, of that Raji game. And if you're interested in that one, we will have affiliate links and links to all of the things that we've shown on screen down in the description. We will get a little kickback, but it's not actually a sponsored section or anything like that. So yeah, go check out Premium Edition Games and Shop Phil, who made that version of Raji that you saw.
Let's talk about one of their games then, the actual game itself. Shall we talk about Love Free?
Yeah, definitely. So Love Free is one of those ridiculously difficult platformers that you hate.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's it reminded me of I said to you, didn't I, games like, I don't know how you pronounce it, like VV or whatever it's called, and Thomas Was Alone. Not necessarily in terms of the specific mechanics, like the VV one has anti-gravity where you go onto the ceiling.
Okay.
This doesn't have that, but just in terms of that, obviously the pixel style, the very high threshold for difficulty, and the precision platforming.
Yeah, but something like Super Meat Boy took this idea, didn't it, into the next level. While it looks super simple, it's very easy to pick up and play. You're basically moving your character. You can slow them down as well, which becomes essential, as you can see from probably all the deaths on screen. But then, at the same time, you have to place down checkpoints.
Yes.
Which is quite interesting.
You can do that whenever you want as well.
Yeah, so you need to place those, but you can only do them obviously on solid surfaces. So sometimes you'll be swimming and things like that, and you can't. Although you did notice there were probably a few places I could have landed.
Yeah, I think
they should have done.
Kind of strategically place little platforms here and there so you can do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I suppose you're just so caught up in the moment, you swim on, or you jump on without realising you could have saved yourself for a sec.
There's quite a lot of content in here by the looks of it. You've got like the original games, and then there's like remasters in there. There's arcade mode. Yeah, there's a decent chunk within this one set.
Yeah, it's got the first 3 games, so Love 1 and 2, and obviously Love 3, which the game or the package is titled as. And then, as you say, there are a few extra versions in there too. And the developer of this game is actually currently working with the developer of Undertale.
Oh, okay.
On their latest project, which is Deltarune.
Nice, very nice. I didn't realise that. Yeah, Undertale's massively loved, isn't it? I don't think I've ever played it.
No, I haven't. I'll be honest. I know it's on the Switch. Just one of those games you never seem to get round to. But Deltarune, I believe, is also on the Switch in terms of like part 1, or it's episodic, and
yes,
some of it is
and
on
it's
the
free,
Switch.
isn't it? That first bit.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, they're working together on that particular project.
Nice. All right. Okay. So yeah, thanks to Premium Edition. Links, savings, all of that stuff down in the description. Please do go check them out. Let them know that SwitchUp sent you.
Right, my first game then is one we've spoken about before, but I'm almost talking about with a very different context this time, and it's Vampire Survivors.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, because the last time we spoke about it, I know you'd put a fair bit of time into it, but I'd literally that morning, we'd played a couple of rounds of 2-player, or maybe it was the previous weekend, I forget, but I'd played about half an hour of it.
We got him, lads.
Yeah. I mean, I've done about 15 hours of it now, and it's such an incredible game, which I did say then that I was very much enjoying it, but the depth and the strategy that goes into it in terms of weapon pickups has really dawned on me now, much more so than it had any chance to do then, you know?
Yeah, it's really satisfying, because I'd say it's quite rare for Glen to really, really like a game like you have with this one.
Yeah.
You know, he'd message me and be like, check out this run, and he'd send me a bit of footage of like a ludicrous end game run that shouldn't be survivable. And it's nice when someone finds a new game that they really like.
Yeah. Especially because it's just the sort of game I never thought I'd enjoy.
Yeah.
Because of the auto-aiming, or the auto-firing, I should say. I just thought it wouldn't work. You know, I grew up on twin-stick shooters.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do you mean you can't shoot your own bullets? So what's the point of that? But it works so well.
It really does.
Because of how frantic the game is, of course. You know, I think it would be impossible to survive without that.
Yeah.
And there are some weapons where you can aim to a degree. There's one, I forget the name of it, but it's like a drill.
Okay.
It's kind of under the ground. And every time you let go of the stick to move, it then fires off in the direction you were last facing.
That's cool.
So you can kind of do short spurts of that and get enemies that way, but for the most part obviously you don't. But it's those weapon evolutions that I've really started to get on board with, and I know there's more to it further still from this, you know, but at the time we were talking about kind of having the strategy of sharing out the items without, I think, fully understanding or appreciating certain items go together to form an evolved weapon. And when you start to get those, and you can quite early on, so it's obviously it's a half-hour run, isn't it, after 10-15 minutes you can have at least one of those evolved, if not two, and you're well on your way to just easy street for that one run, and it's very satisfying when that happens. But I also enjoy making it harder on myself by avoiding ones I know do well together, or avoiding evolving certain weapons that I know are very strong, and seeing if I can survive with other weapon evolutions, you know. So
there's also an upgrade you can buy, that curse one we saw.
Yeah,
we were wondering why anyone would use it, but I think we've just
one of the characters has a curse,
right? Okay,
just as part of their build, you know.
Yeah.
And I did complete 30 minutes with them, and again, in that kind of masochistic sort of way, it is quite satisfying to make it that bit harder for yourself, and still complete the 30 minutes, you know.
Did the door open next to you, a vampire walk in and go, oi, no professionals?
He did.
Thought so.
I said, what were you worried about? And he flew off.
Not on the grass.
No, not on the grass. Over the hill and far away is where he went, as the crow flies. But no, it's just such a fun game, and I would love to know, like, genuinely asking, because obviously I have a backlog series that I do. What would people consider completing this game? What would you have to do to complete it? Because one of the achievements does say something like seeing the final fireworks, so there's clearly an end point, you know. And I'm not talking about DLC or anything, it's just a base game. That's all got.
Unlocks.
Yeah, you reckon? I don't know. What would you? I mean, I've done 5 of the levels, so you've got 4 levels, and then there's 2 challenge levels. I've done 1 of those, and then there's a couple of bonus levels. Yeah. And there's one more on my screen that says I haven't discovered yet.
Okay.
But if someone could just tell me without, major spoilers, just what would we class as finishing the game, or is there an end credit screen? Then I'll
surely doing all the levels.
I would say so. Yeah, I would imagine so. But I'd just be intrigued to know. Yeah. It's funny with some sort of games. It's a bit of a grey area, isn't it?
It is, and you know that the hardcore out there will be like, you need to have completed every stage with the dog.
Yeah, or unlocked every character, or this or that, or whatever, you know.
So yeah, it's nice. Vampire Survivors, you should definitely pick that one up. Amazing game. And off the back of it, we're going to talk about one that I introduced you to today. And I have a feeling it may go in a similar direction once you've had a few more runs. And that's Brotato.
Yes.
So Brotato, very much like Vampire Survivors, but actually very different as well.
Yeah, it was very different. When Vampire Survivors come out, on the Switch at least, I'm talking about, I think Brotato had come out like 2 days before or a week before, wasn't it? They were very close together. And I'd never seen much of this one at all until today. And I did expect, just obviously knowing the other game by now, it to be X amount of time you have to survive. But it's not. It's kind of broken down into smaller waves and runs, isn't it?
Yeah, you got those wave-based runs. You're not looking for specific, like, treasure pickups and stuff.
Yeah.
You beat the wave, and then you get a reward card. You choose one of those, or you can like cash them, can't you? Kind of save the money.
You can,
recycle them.
Yes, yeah.
And then between rounds, you've got a shop, And in the shop, that's where things are very different. So, for example, you can carry up to 6 different weapons, and you can combine 2 of them to level them up.
Yeah.
You know, so there's like different stages of almost rarity, you know, and power. So you end up trying to build a specific. I think one of the builds, I think I might have got some footage of it, was you playing my melee build.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was difficult.
Yeah, you'd started to run and I kind of just picked it up. And but it was quite interesting how so obviously having a shop is not completely unique, no. That's fine. But the combinations of weapons or how you can combine, similar weapons in your possession and make them stronger is quite clever. And how you can be very specific in what you build in terms of your character, so you can go for melee, or you can maybe have a character that's that bit weaker but is very fast, or whatever you feel you need to complement the weapons you have. Really does separate it from something like Vampire Survivors, actually.
Yeah, and you've obviously got literally, like, I think I'm trying to figure out how many characters there are. That line is like 15. Yeah, there's over like 30 different characters to choose from and unlock. But then, like you say, you're tailoring your builds, getting stronger. But when we were talking before about how you can't understand, coming from a twin stick background, how you can't aim. This one you can aim.
Right, okay.
So you can set it to aim, but I turn it off.
Yeah.
So it was like that. I was like, oh, I need to be able to aim, was doing that. And I was like, oh, this is okay. And as soon as you turn it off, it feels the way it should.
Yes. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can see the evolution of twin stick shooting over the years, because obviously you had kind of aim with right stick, but still had a shoot fire button. You had just pure aim with right stick and the game will fire for you.
Yeah.
And now you've got just be in the vicinity of the enemies and the character will do the rest, you know?
Yeah.
And it's interesting seeing that evolution because it does feel quite natural.
It does. And it's not the watered down experience you'd think it would be.
No, it isn't. It's taken away one thing so it can add 10 other things. Yeah. And
it's
I
like
like
refining,
that.
isn't it?
It is refining, and I do like that because, it's easy to get stuck in your ways. Certainly if you come from an arcade background or enjoy arcade games, even if you didn't experience them, you know, as were intended in the arcades, to still be able to accept a new form of what you love. Yeah, I like that. It's nice to enjoy these games, actually. Yeah.
New tricks learned.
Yeah, old dogs, new tricks.
Excellent tricks.
The best of tricks. Right, my next one then is one that, as you're watching this, I would have reviewed possibly yesterday, maybe a couple of days ago. New game out on the Switch, and that's Princess Peach Showtime.
The show is here.
Show must go on. And quite an interesting one, this, I think, at least anyway, because I didn't watch any of the promotional stuff for this, or very little of it. I watched a tiny bit of it. So I knew that there were costumes. Yeah. And that's pretty much all I knew. I was expecting a 2.5D platformer where the costumes would give you power-ups. Yeah, and you'd go through each level, there'd be themes, you know, the basics. And it's not really that. It kind of is, but not quite. But I do like where it is. And I do appreciate Nintendo for going in a different direction, albeit I don't think it's as good as it could have been, or it comes off as well as I would have hoped. But I do applaud the originality, you know? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, obviously I've only seen 10 minutes, so anything I say has to be taken with a very large grain of salt.
Yeah.
Initial impressions, I'm not overly enthused. I looked at it and was like, it just looks good. You know, very often with Nintendo, I look and 5 minutes later I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is so much better than I thought it would be. This one I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I can understand that, and maybe if I was to really boil down how I felt, I'd feel the same. But having seen a bit more of it,
yes,
you know, there's just a bit more to pick the bones out of, so to speak. But I like the fact that they've almost taken the template for Mario 64 of that big building, and there being some way of entering stages. So obviously in 64 it was the castle with the paintings that you jumped into.
Yeah.
Here you have the theatre, and you have the stages that the stage rooms that you enter, and then you become part of the play, hence the costume changes. But it also feels a little bit like something like Mario Odyssey, whereas in 64 you had the stars, and it was very, you grabbed a star, you left the painting, you had to go back into the painting to grab another one. This is more like the moons in Odyssey, where you grab these like little shards of gems, whatever they are, and you can keep going through the level.
Okay.
But you use those to then unlock the next floor, and you move up through the theatre.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So it has that feel of a classic 3D Mario game, almost merges a couple of them, but has its own flavour at the same time. And I mentioned kind of the levels not being just your standard platformers. You have a level like you play as how would you say, is it a patissiere? Am I saying that right? A cake decorator.
What do they do? Oh, cake decorator. One of those bakers.
Baker, yeah, we'll go with baker, shall we? A baker.
That probably is a patissiere.
It's definitely something like that.
I call him a baker.
Let's just boil it down and
boil it right down.
Let's get real, shall we?
Very real. Give me a bum.
Let's get less French, shall we?
Just a little less.
Yeah, so you play as one of them. And I was expecting the level to be cake themed, and you're bouncing on cakes,
of course,
and all that caper.
Get the cakes out.
But you're not. You're decorating them, and you have to.
A bit like Pizza.
Yeah, exactly right. It's almost like they should have named it that in the first place. Bloody baker. But no, you're having to copy a pattern and obviously repeat it onto the cake. So it's interesting, but it was a little bit underwhelming at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my impression of the game. It's slightly underwhelming, but it's still objectively quite good.
Yeah. I do.
And but the other thing I wanted to mention before we move on is performance, because it's not bad, but I do feel it's something that Nintendo are starting to slip at, to be honest.
I'd say so. I think they're kind of in their heads, they're like, the Switch is the infinite console. And what I mean by that is they're introducing new visual effects. Like the lighting system in this game, to me, looks quite a long way ahead of some of the other ones they've used. The real-time lighting. I saw some reflections of dynamic lighting. So when you went past something that was yellow, it reflected on her face. That stuff costs. It costs performance. And here you can see those drops. Like it dropped down, stuttering below 30 at times.
Yes, yeah.
And that's a shame. Like for me, Nintendo are 60 FPS kings. It's got to be.
Yeah, and it's something that's becoming quite frequent with them. Even games I absolutely love, like Link's Awakening, the remake. You walk through the grass in that game and cut the grass with your sword. The game just becomes like like when you used to get the picture book and move the pages along and make your own little flip books. Yeah, it's like it becomes like that at times. And you just don't associate that with Nintendo. But for everything that you just mentioned in terms of pushing the boundaries of what the Switch can do, which they should be doing, it's their console.
Yeah,
they're slipping on the basics a little bit sometimes.
Do the basics, Nintendo. Okay, next up we've got a game called Pecaminosa. Trying to read the subtitle. A Deadly Hand.
Okay.
I think that's what it says.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. I'll be honest with you, I was looking through the eShop. I do this quite a lot. I was looking through the eShop just looking for gems.
Yeah.
I'm just going through, having a little look. Not a chinwag. Just have a little look. A little gander. Exactly, like
Goosey
goose. Just trying to find something that was a bit different. And this just ticks all of my boxes.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got like an isometric view, a la something like Syndicate.
Yeah.
You can switch to your fists to start with, and that is twin stick shooter. You use the right stick to aim and all that. You eventually get your pistol back once you've done a job for a local. But it has a feeling like you've just walked into a smoky jazz cafe.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You've got that music playing, that ambience. I don't know if it's near future or if it's supposed to be set. I don't know when it's supposed to be set, to be honest. I don't recognise this.
It's like neo-noir, isn't it?
Neo-noir.
Pretty sure that's
fantastic way of saying it. That's exactly what this is. It's neo-noir, yeah? But it's one of those, like old school, where very little hand-holding. I think initially I went down into the sewers and got killed by a gang of rats.
Right.
I was boxing them off and they were nibbling at my toes.
They'll do that, yeah.
They took me out.
Right little scallywags.
They are scallywags. And you save at typewriters, so you go in, use a typewriter, Thanks very much. That's the sound of a typewriter.
It was good.
Thank you very much.
I actually thought you had one in the room. It's like, why has he got a typewriter in this day? Oh no, it's just a voice. Just impersonating one.
You've seen Police Academy?
Exactly right, yeah. Trying to think of the fella's name and it escapes me completely.
It's escaped me as well.
The only one I can remember is Mahoney, because the boss used to shout it all the time. Oh no, Hightower. Remember
he was
Hightower?
awesome.
He was cool.
Police Academy. But this game, it's basically like an old school adventure with some action elements in it as well. If you die, you're going back to those, your little saves there and stuff. Yeah. But it's cool. It's got like a taxi system in the city, so you can get to the different districts. I think I'm going to call them those, and that sounds right to me.
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah.
But so far, all I've done literally is get my pistol back. I went around the park a little bit, and I'm doing a job for the guy that's then going to help me, because there is a case here. There's a case you're trying to solve in the background, but it's one of those where it introduces loads of little jobs along the way. I'm just very impressed. It's 60 FPS, super smooth, a bit weirdly smooth for the style, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I can see
like
what you
watching
mean.
an old film in 60 frames per second feels weird.
Yeah.
This is so smooth. The style, I'm like, my brain is going, hang on, we're remembering future wars and games from the past, but I'm seeing this really smooth movement. It just felt a bit jarring, but not a negative. Just is what it is. There are also kind of extras in there. There's a baker in there.
Oh yeah.
You love him.
Yeah.
Oh, you love him.
decorating those cakes.
Yeah, and there's a guy trying to sell you pizzas, and they'll offer you little missions. There are shops you can buy and sell things. It just has that very old school feeling. I feel like I've sat down at the Amiga, you know, I've just finished playing Chaos Engine and I've put this in. And so far, I mean, I played it for about an hour last night in bed, and I was like, all right.
What sort? I mean,
It's
in terms
okay.
of what is it, like a 3D open world, or is it 2D side on?
So it's
or
that
is it point and click?
isometric. So it's that
Oh, you said
isometric
isometric, right?
top-down
So I do apologise.
adventure.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
Yeah. So that is the perspective, but there is that action in there as well.
No, I can visualise it better now. Sorry, you did say isometric.
Well, I haven't really used the pistol yet, though, I must say. It took me ages to get it, and ages to get the ammo. There you go.
Like things like Shadowrun on
Yes.
the old consoles, or, you know, the older versions of Shadowrun I'm talking about
Exactly.
from back in the day.
That's exactly how it plays, for sure. Cheap as well. I think it cost me a couple of quid. It was for one of my sales videos. I was like, just, you know, might as well give it a punt.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice game. Enjoyed it.
Nice. My last one is going to be your last one, because I did mention I've not been very well lately, so I've had to knock back on screen time just to give my my head and my eyes a bit of a rest. So what are we going for?
We're going to go for a game called Unturned.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd never heard of it before, and it's the kind of game that you would look at and go, oh
dear.
Okay. We're not putting that in a video.
Why? What's
It looks like Minecraft.
Oh, right, it's that voxel style.
It's that voxel style,
Yeah.
Minecrafty, but I had a load of comments. I can't remember if it was on sales or something, saying, why haven't you Unturned shadow dropped? Amazing. And I think it has a huge following on PC.
Right.
And what it is essentially, if you've ever played anything like DayZ, have you ever heard of DayZ?
No.
DayZ is like the original zombie simulator.
Okay.
So on PC, you'd create a character and you'd enter this world, like a massive map. And at the same time, there'd be loads of other people doing exactly what you're doing, you know, spawning on the map.
Yeah.
Or they've been there for a while. There are zombies in there, and you're just trying to survive.
Oh,
so
right.
you can form alliances. Like you might come across someone, and they'd like shoot you in the face, or they might be like, "Hello," you know, and try and be nice.
Yeah.
Here, you create a character from a load of different builds, each with their own like pros and cons. Drops you on an island, either solo, so you can do it solo, or you can do it obviously with loads of other people. Now, I will say, last night for whatever reason, I couldn't get online. It just kept glitching out and coming up with an error on screen.
Oh, right.
So that's worrying.
Okay.
Because if the online doesn't work, for me, this game is like redundant. But the idea is that you're online with loads of other people, just surviving, just building up bases, working together or not, and getting better gear, because you start with literally nothing. Now you can crawl around, like it looks so janky, because obviously you've got your big square arms and that, or you can like lay prone and crawl that way. If you sneak up behind zombies, you can like one-shot them, but if they get you, it's quite scary. They're like apes.
Right.
They're like on all like hunched like this, and they like leap at you. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit scared in bed last night. It's like, this isn't cool. Can't be dealing with these ape-like zombies. Yeah, he's loving it.
Oh dear.
He's picturing it.
There have been times where you've said in a video
Yeah.
about X game,
Yeah.
and that part's quite scary, and I'm thinking in my head, no, it's not. But I'm not going to embarrass you like that in front of these people. I'm just going to agree with you.
You wait till you see the footage.
I don't care what the
You
footage.
wait till you see the footage.
If Steve from Minecraft grabs me, I'm not scared, mate.
A week from now, Glen's gonna be like, I'm sorry I said that, because I've been scared ever since.
I've been having nightmares about it.
Yeah, I do, because I've got a very vivid imagination. So anytime I'm in a situation where I can put myself in that situation, I end up petrified. Like the thought of these weird square-armed monkeys jumping at me and tearing my face off. There's a lot of blood in the game as well,
Right.
but that freaks me out.
Okay.
He wouldn't mind. I'm going to put you in a zoo, right, in a cage with a baboon, and be like,
Yeah, but that's a real baboon.
yeah, good point.
It's
But
not a
if it
voxel.
had square arms, you'd probably be more scared.
I'd probably say, why are your arms
Just crimson covers
But
all
I wouldn't
the
be
walls.
scared in those final moments.
No.
I'd be inquisitive.
You
as to
would.
why
And,
his arms.
and I'd lean round to
A
the camera
rectangle.
and go, he wasn't scared. And then I'd walk off.
He died doing what he loved. Questioning voxel graphics.
Exactly. So yeah, so far I've only played about an hour. It was scary.
Well, there we go. Not really sure what to say now.
That's it. That's the end of our video.
Lovely. Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I did.
Good.
Immensely.
I can't think of a word better than immensely, really.
It's a shame. Shame for you.
Patissier.
It's a good word. It is a good word.
Bake Off.
Bake Off. British.
Have you watched the baking shows where it's like, is it cake?
Oh yeah, me missus and my daughter watch it all the
They
time.
love it, don't they?
I can't stand it, mate.
Oh, it's
stand
so, it's quite cringy, isn't it?
Oh, it's unreal. It's
Shrill.
unreal. Just feels like every time the people on that show speak,
Yeah.
it feels like machine gun bullets are hitting me in the face. Just their words physically hurt me. It just...
He's not scared of square-armed gorillas.
No.
But he is those
Is it
words.
cake? Oh dear me.
Is it
Yeah.
cake?
Is it cake?
Goodness me. As we said in the video, do go check out the games company, premium edition games. A big thanks to them for sending those copies across. And there's an affiliate link down there so you can save a bit of bunts. Do you know what was funny actually in the sales video?
Yeah.
People have started translating the Cockney rhyming slang.
Right.
Like I'd said something like bubble, and someone was like, just for anyone that was worried, bubble means having a lot. It took me a long time to find this out. And the other one, I just said Scooby. They were like, Scooby, yeah, Scooby. It means Scooby-Doo, which means I haven't got a clue. I was just laughing.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I seem to remember I did a video. What was the game called? It had the word London in the title, and it was crap.
Yeah,
the game was crap.
Yeah, Rico London.
Rico London, that was it. Yeah. So I did a bit of rhyming slang at the end. With I think I had subtitles.
Yeah, you did. That was good. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much to our patrons and members, and for all things Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya.